Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Maple Media. We've got the usual crew in here. We got Rib, we got Clarky, Snipes, Rib. How you guys doing tonight?
Well, Snipes, you go first, buddy. It's all yours.
Doing pretty good. I mean, Leafs didn't play last night, so it's kind of boring. But big game tomorrow night, and that's what we're looking forward to talking about tonight. So go Leafs, go. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it's good as always. Always love when we get the three amigos together. Snipes over here with his controversial opinions. We'd love to hear them.
Says you.
Oh boy.
And now we got 3 games coming up against the Vancouver Canucks, and I can see 3 W's in the air.
Well, that's what we're hoping for sure. Look at that. The Bills Bunker. Let's go. Oh, you should check that channel out. That's my other channel related to the Buffalo Bills. But we're going to be talking tonight. Maple Leafs, Vancouver Canucks. Let's crush the Vancouver Canucks. We'll go over some news from practice today, and then we'll do a little flashback, a way back Wednesday, looking back at some highlights and an on this day in Maple Leafs history. So today, I feel like yesterday, we got to take back what we said. Alex Kerfoot returned to practice after missing yesterday's practice. And Travis Dermott was put in, and Mikko Lehtinen pulled out. Sheldon Keefe went as far to say that Mikko Lehtinen doesn't really look comfortable out there, except for when he's on the power play. What do you guys think of that?
Keefe said that?
Sheldon Keefe said that.
Oof. Rip?
I think that just goes to show the adjustment period from playing in the KHL to playing in the NHL. Yes, it's one of the best hockey leagues in the world, but nothing can quite compare to the National Hockey League. The difference in ice service, and you got to also remember, Lehtinen over in the KHL was used to being a top-pairing defenseman, playing 25 to 27 minutes a game. And now he's been tasked and coming in on this Leafs team and playing bottom-pairing minutes where he's not getting anywhere close to what he's used to. So you combine all that together, and someone that perhaps is more of a power play specialist, hence why Keith was saying he looked comfortable in the power play. And I'm just not sure, given the defenseman we have, a Travis Dermott, a Rasmus Sandin, is Lehtinen really going to work out? I don't know. What do you think, Snipes?
Yeah, I mean, you make some great points. It is definitely adjustment. Although KHL is the second best league in the world, we all know that KHL is still a huge drop-off in terms of the skill level as well as the style of play compared to the NHL. So it is difficult, I feel like, for Lehtinen to come in and adjust automatically. And for Keith to say that, he seriously means that probably, or else he wouldn't say that to the public, where he's saying, he just doesn't see the level of comfort that you want to see out of a player. So I don't know. I think that you got to give him more time. But I'd also like to see Sandin. I know Sandin, we got some developments on him, some updates, so we'll get into that later. But maybe this is an opportunity for Sandin to step in.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, Mikko Lehtinen, he hasn't really looked comfortable, and it's more of a waiting game at this point. We got to find ways to integrate into our lineup, and whether that's with a 7th defender or just giving him 10 minutes of ice time, we can find ways to integrate him and hopefully get him comfortable in the NHL. Transitioning from the KHL to the NHL can't be easy. Travis Dermott, on the other hand, he's been here. He knows the ins and outs of this team. That's why he's more comfortable, and he will be in. He was in on today's practice, so it's assumed he'll be playing tomorrow. Now, that update about Rasmus Sandin, we were just talking about him yesterday and how the Maple Leafs should start giving him some playing time. He's obviously really frustrated, and this is going to frustrate him even more. Today, Rasmus Sandin took a puck to the face on a close-range shot from Pierre Engvall. So left today's practice, and that's going to be even more of a setback for a young player who's trying to really develop his skills and make a name for himself in the NHL.
And I think the award for the unluckiest Leaf of the year so far has to be Rasmus Sandin, because he's obviously hasn't seen the playing time that he wants or thinks he deserves, and now another setback. And I hope that this ends up being a positive story when we look back in the future to some other past Toronto athletes. Even if you look outside of a hockey context, with like Roy Halladay, his first season or two with the Toronto Blue Jays wasn't the greatest, but then he was able to turn all that and turn into one of the greatest athletes of all time. So if we can see Rasmus Sandin really take this motivation from these first few seasons and all the setbacks he's suffered, I think it's going to help him in the long term. But I can only imagine, and I feel for him right now, because it's got to be a pretty crappy place to be.
Yeah, I love that analogy about Roy Halladay. I mean, rest in peace. The guy was a goat on the Blue Jays. If anyone in here is a Blue Jays fan, I know I watch them a bit, but these two guys are huge Blue Jays fans. So shout out if you like the Jays. But yeah, I think you're right. I mean, it's definitely very tough for a player who's really wanting to crack the starting lineup to suffer an injury in practice. I mean, that's definitely psychologically plays a lot of games with you and makes it harder to recover it. But also maybe Keefe will, maybe, I don't know if this will happen, but maybe it'll be a bit of a sympathy card. We'll be like, okay, this guy got injured. You know, he wants to be in the lineup. Maybe I should just let him show what he's got and play him. Maybe that's an opportunity that arises. I mean, I know NHL coaches don't really, I don't think they make decisions based on sympathy for players, but maybe that has an impact on decision to see if he does get a bit of playing time.
Okay, hold up for a sec there. I don't want to interject too much, but do we really think, after what Sheldon Keefe just said about Mikko Rantanen, that he's going to be making decisions on who's starting for him based on sympathy?
I don't know. I don't necessarily think that's the case either, but I think that Joe has a point. He might sympathize with him a bit. I don't necessarily think that that's going to give him more playing time, though. It's going to be about more how he responds from that injury in practice. If he comes back with even more of a fire lit under him, then I would expect him to get more playing time. Well, at least get some playing time. Come on. We've been preaching
Come
to get.
on, Red. Be nice on the guy. He's 20 years old. Jeez.
We've been trying to get Rasmus Sandin in this lineup, and he takes a puck to the face. That's a tough bounce. I don't know. That's a tough bounce. We've been talking about what happened in practice today, and we'll get to the Vancouver Canucks preview just in a moment, because we've got a way back Wednesday moment that it's feel good, I guess, for Leafs fans.
Wait.
Matt Sundin scores the game-winning goal in a shootout against Vesa Toskala. You guys remember that?
Kind of brings back some memories. I mean, very vividly seeing him in Vancouver jersey. That was very brief, but yeah, I think I remember that game. It was in Vancouver. It was a pretty emotional game for him and Leaf fan.
It was Toronto. The Toronto Maple Leafs fans were cheering when he scored the game-winning goal against the Leafs, just because how much respect they have for him.
And I mean, looking back, it makes me a bit sad just to imagine what a player like Sundin that gave his heart and soul to this organization would have been able to do with some of the support that the Leafs have now. He gave a lot of really good years and didn't always have the best teammates around him. So I think as Leaf fans, we have to both be our condolences, but also be grateful that we had a player of his caliber here for such a long time, when he just as easily could have left, demanded a trade, and went somewhere else. But he stayed and gave his best hockey to the Toronto Maple Leafs night in and night out.
Yeah, I mean, he's leading this franchise in almost every major statistical category for a reason. He's a great player, and I can hint at who's going to be in my top 2 of the top 15 Maple Leafs of all time, but I'm sure you can guess that Sundin will be in the top 2. That's just a little giveaway. Sundin's going to be there. We will show you another thing, not a clip, but on this day in Maple Leafs history, way back, this is actually way back Wednesday, February 3rd, 1949, Turk Broda becomes the first ever Maple Leafs goaltender and just the second in NHL history to win 250 games with a 4-1 victory over the Montreal Canadiens. Chuck says Sundin is the GOAT for Toronto. What do you guys think? Is Sundin the greatest of all time for the Toronto Maple Leafs?
I think if you look at longevity, I would have a hard time finding another player that meant as much to the organization for as long as he did. And I think that's what really makes him the GOAT for the Toronto Maple Leafs for me.
Clark?
Yeah, I think he is, hands down.
Yeah, you can stay tuned for my thoughts. You'll stay tuned on this channel for my thoughts. Top 15 greatest Maple Leafs countdown is coming up. Spots 2 and 1 will be coming in the next week or two. So let's get into the Vancouver Canucks, Toronto Maple Leafs, and I see the comments starting to roll in here a bit. So to everybody watching this video, make sure you smash this like button and hit the notification bell. You'll be notified every time we're live here. And if you're watching on Facebook, share this video in a group with friends, on your profile, wherever. Share it. Really helps out the brand, gets more viewer engagement, and the more comments, the more talking points we have, the more interesting discussions we can get into. So let's talk about an interesting statistic that these two teams are actually tied. The Toronto Maple Leafs and Vancouver Canucks are both 53.3% in the face-off circle, which is tied for 4th in the NHL. Clarky, what do you think of this stat?
I mean, we've been raving all season long so far for the most part. I mean, the last couple of games it's dipped off about the Leafs' ability in the center of the dot. So to meet a team that has the same ability and has shown that so far, it's going to be a battle. And we know how important those offensive wins as well as defensive zone wins are. On the penalty kill too, power play, all matters. But I like what the hockey kid says here. Leafs going to put the Canucks in the ground. Way to set the tone for the podcast. I gotta love that comment. I mean, we can't underestimate the Canucks, but I think that comment is so great, sets the tone, and I think that the Leafs are going to crush the Canucks in the face-off circle.
I'm not sure I'd quite go that far, because even if I do think the Toronto teams are going to win and that the Leafs are going to pull through, Vancouver has also shown that they are at least a very capable team when it comes to winning faceoffs. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how this Leafs team, just even on a faceoff by faceoff, matches up with another team that's the lead at winning the draw. And I think it'll really show where the Toronto Maple Leafs can separate themselves from perhaps other teams that are also taking pride in being a good faceoff hockey team. And if they can come out and still dominate the Vancouver Canucks on faceoffs, I think that's what we want to see, because that's going to play a key role the further into the season we go.
Yeah, I mean, the Vancouver Canucks, they're bottom 6th. It's headlined by two pretty good centers at winning faceoffs. You have Brandon Sutter and you have Jay Beagle. Those are two valuable assets in the faceoff circle. But I like the way the Maple Leafs are constructed, top to bottom, down the middle. It's going to be interesting to see who takes this faceoff battle, because it's going to have a big impact on possession, I believe. Another stat that's interesting. It's going to be good for the Toronto Maple Leafs to get a lot of shots here, because Vancouver is currently allowing 36.3 shots on goal per game. Just let that sink in for a second. 36.3 shots on goal against them per game. That's the most in the NHL. The Maple Leafs absolutely need to take advantage of this statistic.
I think we've all seen it too. In the past, there's been Toronto teams that weren't necessarily on the high end of preventing shots, and we all know what it's like to watch a goalie night in and night out continue to get shelled with more shots over and over and over. And thankfully, that's not always the case now, and the Maple Leafs have improved. But I really do feel for Vancouver fans because obviously they've got two good goalies in Braden Holtby and Thatcher Demko, but when they're seeing that many shots a night, that's enough to tire anyone out.
Are they going to riot, the Vancouver fans? I mean,
I
36.
mean, I think that's one thing you can relate on, just the hatred of the Boston Bruins between both teams.
Okay, that's fair, yeah. But I mean, 36.3 shots on goal a game. That's a lot to give up, and I think the Maple Leafs definitely need to take advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean, when you're a team like the Leafs with bona fide snipers, if we can get that many shots off, we can definitely snipe some goals. I mean, I know Matthews, Nylander, I think Marner's shown it this year too. Our top guys, when they have the opportunities to shoot, and they usually capitalize. So I'll be looking forward to that. Hopefully the Leafs can get off. If we can see 35 to 40 shots, we're definitely going to give the Vancouver goalies a run for their money.
And you know a thing or two about sniping over there, don't you? After all, it is your nickname over here, Clarky Snipes.
Well, it's nothing compared to the wheeling and dealing we see from Matthews, Tavares, Nylander, Marner, Simmons, Spezza. You can name every player on the Leafs. Every one of them, almost every one of them, knows how to net the puck in the back of the net. Okay, so even Hall, Bogosian has an underrated shot. Have you guys noticed that? He actually has a really good slapper.
Well, it's great for deflections out in front of the net.
And I mean, given his size, I would expect that.
But yeah, I mean, Clarky, I'll give you credit. I mean, you were a bit of a sniper when we played. You were definitely a sniper. You put the puck in the net and you played with a lot of emotion. That's for sure.
Yeah, and he always made sure to snipe the best seat on the bench.
Yeah, whether it's on the bench, keeping the bench warm, or skating around the ice, you got to have your important role in the team.
Know your role. Know your role. So this stat, I mean, it looks a bit inflated, and maybe that's due to the fact that Vancouver is the most penalized team in the NHL. They're the only team to play 12 games in the NHL, but they've totaled 162 penalty minutes in 12 games. And just to add on to that stat, that's really, really going to benefit the Toronto Maple Leafs because Maple Leafs have the most effective power play unit in the NHL. They've converted on 43.3% of their power plays. You guys expect this to continue?
I expect to see a lot of high-scoring games from these next 3 games for the Maple Leafs. If Vancouver's constantly in the box and taking more penalties, the more the merrier. As the stats show right there, Toronto's 43% on the power play, and that's first in the whole league. Vancouver needs to stay out of the box, and if they don't, that will really put a downside to them having a chance to win these games, and I think it will give the Leafs a better chance going forward. And that could be the deciding factor.
Clarky?
Leafs Nation, comment what you think about the Leafs power play, how we've been doing so far. And you know what I'd say to go on what Ribble's saying, that definitely if the Leafs can have the man advantage, we can capitalize on that. We've shown we have a good power play, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, Malhotra, not only has he helped out with us in the faceoff circle as an assistant coach, he's also head of the power play. And we've seen what he can bring to the table in terms of being the floor general for the power play on the Leafs. And we lost Rib there, yeah. But I think he'll come back. But anyway, Malhotra, what the commentator was saying too is that when you got a guy who was a really big penalty killer in his career, he knows how to run a good power play because he had to go against a bunch of them for so many games. So I think that he's shown so far to be a really effective coach on the power play, and hopefully he can continue to utilize the Leafs' skills. Then also just want to say huge shout out here to the Hockey Kit. I got to assign, each fan that comes in and out, we love seeing comments, but the Hockey Kit, I got an important role for you this year. I want you to not forget that rib down here, and if you guys haven't seen what I'm talking about, go check out the last video. Rib down here said he would get a tattoo if the Leafs don't make it out of the Canadian division. The Hockey Kid, your job this year is to remind us every time you come on that Rib has to get that tattoo. That's your job, okay? Thank you.
Well said, Clarky. Well said.
Well, we'll see if he can remember and keep it throughout the season.
I don't think he's gonna forget that. I mean, okay. Question from Chuck Fleeton. I want to touch on this. We're gonna touch more on this later. What's your thoughts on Wayne Simmons being on the second line? And I'll start off. I think that Wayne Simmons, he's earned it. He scored 3 goals in the past 4 games, and he's a veteran leader. He's really stepped it up on this Toronto Maple Leafs team. There's been a lot of injuries. Thornton, Robertson, Kerfoot was out the other day, but he's back at practice today. We'll see if he's in tomorrow or not. But Wayne Simmons, I'd expect him to play a pivotal role on that second line, be a pillar for that line.
And I said it before the season started that I was surprised when some of you guys slotted Simmons in on the fourth line. He still does have offensive firepower. We've seen it in past seasons with Philadelphia. He's a more than capable scorer. And heck, I can't think of too many other players in the NHL I'd want in front of the net, screening the goalie and really taking up the valuable space. So I think that's going to be a nice fit. And if anyone's going to get Simmons going, it's going to be that second line. And if he can just add a little bit more firepower to the leadership and spark he already brings, the more the merrier.
Clarky?
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I know that a couple of Leafs Nation in the comments up here are also saying the Simmons train is coming tomorrow. Simmons and Vesey will have a big game. I think that these depth pieces Dubas has added are going to be really important, and we've seen so far. Rib's great point about how good he is in front of the net, that he can add a lot of scoring firepower, grit, everything we need, 360 player. So him on the second line too, I think he had a really good Western trip, and he's deserved it. He's deserved to showcase his ability on the second line, get more minutes, play with some more skilled players, and see what he can do. Because, that's the whole beauty about this season is it's short, but there's still a lot of time left to try new things out and see what works. So hopefully that this line combination could be the start of something great. We don't know, but it could be. So hopefully it is.
Yeah, Wayne Simmons, he does a great job on the power play, really getting in front, getting rebounds, screening the goalie, and that's exactly what I'd expect him to do on the second line. The second line is going to be great. I'm looking forward to seeing Wayne Simmons get his opportunity on there, and I hope the Wayne train makes the most of it. We have another statistic for you because we were talking about how the Maple Leafs have the most efficient power play in the NHL right now. And you look on the other side of the ice, the Vancouver Canucks have converted on just 13.6% of their power plays. Now, they do have some very talented players over there. They've played the most games in the NHL, so we've seen the biggest sample size from them. But it's also early on. I wouldn't be surprised to see them get it going in the near future.
Yeah, they definitely have a lot of skill. I mean, Pedersen, Besner, really great players. Brock has got a really great snipe shot. So, I mean, Pedersen too, I think, has had a bit of a slow season so far. But I mean, overall, Vancouver, we can't rip on them too much because they still got a lot of raw young talent, and it remains to be seen. Maybe it's a coaching thing. Maybe it's just getting the gears together of all the players and seeing what's going on. But it's still early in the season, so 13% is pretty low, pretty bad, but you never know. They could light us up, so we have to be ready.
It's in the bottom 10 of the NHL.
And I can't believe that you just mentioned the young talent on the Vancouver Canucks and forgot potentially the best one. And that is Quinn Hughes.
Yeah.
Their young star defenseman who is more than capable of quarterbacking a power play. And I think that's something we got to watch out for.
He leads the team in points, I think.
Yeah, Quinn Hughes is a hell of a player.
He has 1 goal and 13 assists so far. That's crazy.
And I think as Leaf fans can talk about, we've seen it ourselves with a defenseman like Morgan Riley and how much a strong offensive defenseman can really make a difference when they're out there on the ice. And that, I would have to say, is the player that probably worries me the most in the Vancouver Canucks for these next 3 games.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a lot of great, potentially superstar players in the making. It's going to be fun to watch this game. I expect it to be a high-flying matchup. And special teams are going to be pivotal for both teams. The Vancouver Canucks really need to step it up and not take as many penalties. And the Maple Leafs just need to capitalize on their opportunities and draw as many penalties as possible. We got some comments here. Dan, the Montreal fan, he says, "Hey guys, Toronto has this. Just like Montreal took 3 of 3 against the Vancouver Canucks. That's what we're hoping to do as well. Let's go."
And I think, and a good point too, because Dan being a Montreal fan, what would you say, Dan? Tell us in the comments, as someone that watched the last few Vancouver games when Montreal was playing them, what would you say were the keys to stopping Vancouver that you think the Leafs could carry over to themselves? I'd be curious to hear.
What do you guys think of this? Raybo says, "Simmons reminds me of a guy we used to have in Darcy Tucker."
I think Simmons has more, I could be wrong on this, or maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but I think Simmons has more offensive upside than Tucker ever did.
I think
So
that's accurate.
it might be a new and improved Tucker in a way, but I can see the comparison. The grit, the determination, those really intangible qualities that get Leafland to love you. And it's been what, 10 games now for Wayne Simmons, and I think I can confidently say for the majority of Toronto Maple Leaf fans that we all love him and we wish we had him years earlier. And yeah, it does bring back a Darcy Tucker vibe.
I mean, we're all aboard the Wayne train here in Toronto. I certainly hope so. And if you're not, make sure you board this train because the destination, the final destination, we hope is the Stanley Cup Finals, and we're riding this Wayne train all the way there. Let's go. But Wayne Simmons, Darcy Tucker, I mean, I can see it in the way that he sparks up the team. I'm not sure if, I guess Tucker was considered a leader of that team. Wayne Simmons is a leader on the Maple Leafs, and he's a Marc Messier Leadership Award winner back in 2018. I can see the comparison, but like you said, Rib, I think Simmons has more upside offensively.
Yeah, that's a good point, Red. I think we got a comment here about a couple comments about Hutchison starting tomorrow. What do you guys think?
What are your thoughts if Hutchinson gets a game? I think Hutchinson will get a game in this Vancouver series, and that's interesting. 2 goalies on either side. I think that their combination in Vancouver is better, more solid, but they haven't been playing up to it. The team in front of them hasn't been playing up to it either. I think Michael Hutchinson should get a game, and maybe the middle, maybe the last one, so Freddie's rested up against Montreal.
I would have to agree with you. I think Hutchinson gets at least one game in this series. It's the perfect time to give him another chance. And obviously, the Jack Campbell injury accelerated that. I'm not sure Hutchinson would have seen the net at any point this season if Campbell had still stayed healthy. But we are where we are, and Freddie is going to need rest as we've kept going on and on over and over. You can go back and watch any Leafs Talk Live for probably the past 2 months. And Frederik Andersen needing rest, I think, has been a talking point on every single show. And if we're going to do that, and we're serious about doing that, we need to give other goaltenders games. As scary as it might be with the thought of Michael Hutchinson going in for a game, it needs to be done. And hopefully it's a positive result.
Yeah, I agree. I think that any Leafs fan that's saying, don't play him at all, keep playing Anderson till Hutchinson or till Campbell comes back, I think that's unrealistic. I think that you have to utilize Hutchinson, and maybe he just didn't have his great year last year because it was fans in the stand or something. You never know. So new scenario, new season, and give him a shot. See what he can do for the Leafs.
Yep. We got a question about trading. Should the Maple Leaf from the Bruins hater like to see that? Should the Leafs trade Sandin or Liljegren? And my answer is simply no. I think that there is no real upside of trading these 2 top defensive prospects away. I don't see the benefit of it.
To pose it to you another way, what would it take for you, Jake, to be comfortable with the Leafs trading away one of these guys? Like, what would they have to get back for you to think, yes, we should be doing that?
That's tough. I'm gonna have to get, at least at first, but I don't really want to trade a defensive prospect because defense takes longer to develop as a position, and if you're taking a first-round pick for the future. It doesn't really make sense. Rasmus Sandin, Timothy Liljegren, they're starting to come along, and they're getting close to the NHL. I think that they will be in the NHL next season. At least I hope so. And the only thing, I don't really see a need on this team right now. Maybe at the trade deadline we can reassess, but I'm not willing to part ways with either of these guys right now.
Yeah, and I would have to echo that with, if you're going to move either Liljegren or Sandin, you need a sizable return. You're going to need a bona fide top 6 forward or a bona fide, really solid top 4 defenseman. And I don't mean a TJ Brody top 4 defenseman. I mean a top 4 defenseman that you can trust on every single game, night in, night out consistency. And that's what both of these guys potentially could project to develop into. So you have to be really sure, if you're going to pull the trigger on that move, that you know what you're getting back. And that ultimately it's going to help push this team farther into playoffs this year. Because I would have to say, I think the Leafs are in a win now mode. And if a deal that's too good to pass up on does come along and involves one of these two, I think you have to think long and hard. But just to trade them for the sake of trading them, that's a strong no.
Yeah, no, I don't think you can really get a sizable return that's going to benefit this team this year. There's not much I'd take. I wouldn't take anything for them, to be honest. I'm not trading those two if I'm Kyle Dubas. Let's continue with the talk of the Vancouver Toronto Maple Leafs. Hopefully we get Clarkie back. Christine, nice to see you back in the comments. She says, I really hope Mikheyev does good against the Canucks. He has looked really good. He is always in the right place at the right time with the breakaways, but can't seem to score. I hope he gets a goal. And, that's something we've been preaching on the show, Christine. Mikheyev, he's a really hard worker. He's a very valuable asset. He's been great on the penalty kill. He's been flying all over the place. He's been a standout player in my eyes. Just hasn't had a lucky bounce go his way.
And I think that touches back to one of my predictions that you're going to see later on in the show. I think in these next 3 games in the series, we're going to see Ilya Mikheyev finally break the bagel. He's finally going to get that goal that's eluded him. The effort's been there. He's been all over the place. It's got to happen one of these days. And I would think with this 3-game series and how much firepower the Leafs have and how Vancouver's constantly giving up tons of shots, I think it's this time.
Yeah, I mean, break the bagel. I've never heard that one before, or maybe I have, but I don't remember hearing it. I don't know. I think Seth has a good comment here too about Mikey is suffering sophomore jinx. Maybe that's the case where he's just got the jitters or something. And we've talked about it many times. You've seen him have the skill in terms of the speed, the tenacity, the drill, the drive, the effort, all that. But it just, I don't know if it's finishing or just being in the right place at the right time, but we just haven't seen him pot in the back of the net yet. But he's been great so far, I'd say, still, on the penalty kill as well as 5-on-5. Bring a lot of energy on the third line. So I'd like to see him get that goal just to take a little pressure off of him, because I'm sure it's on his mind, and you never want that to dawn on a player's conscience for too long, because then it could affect his play in other parts of the game.
And I think he's missing the one thing, Clarkie, that you can allude to. He's missing the sniper gene. You just can't finish them.
I mean, if you combine Mikheyev's speed, physicality, you took everything everything in Mikheyev's game. Everything. I mean, 199.9% of his game, and you added in my 0.1% snipe ability. Who knows? Maybe you get a Austin Matthews, a Crosby. No, I'm just kidding. Rib, I know you like trolling, but at the end of the day, if you guys haven't seen it already, last episode, Rib promised to get a tattoo if the Leafs don't make it out of the Canadian division. And I want you all, this is a job that I'm asking all you guys. It's a simple task. Don't forget it. Don't forget the promise he made.
Don't forget. Hold him accountable to his words. Question here from Bruins hater. When will Simmons need to fight? And I hope not anytime soon. As long as the momentum is on the Maple Leaf side and nobody's getting injured, no big hits against our star guys, there's not really glaring need to start a fight, drop the mitts, because the main purpose of fighting in today's game is not because you hate the guys across from you. Usually, it's more to spark the team.
I'm not sure that's going to be necessary in this series. I think if that is necessary, then something's gone very astray with the Maple Leafs, and Vancouver's came up to play. And I don't see Simmons having to fight for these next 3 games. I think it'll be a nice, deserved fighting break for him.
Clarky?
Yeah, might not see it, but I mean, you never know. Maybe we're in a situation against like Montreal where we're down. We need a bit of a spark. Could be the case. I know we'll get into predictions later. I don't think we'll be in that situation, but you never know. And if we can get Simmons to get in a fight and spark something, then why not? And if you haven't already, you can show that. Smash the like button. Hit the notification bell. Every time Jake goes live, you'll get notified, and you want to get that notification because his content's amazing. And we're a little snippet of it. We're the worst part of his content. Usually his shows are way better when we're not on it. But, you know, he makes us feel better when he lets us on, especially Red.
And I think that alludes back to Steph's comment, too. Touching on your sniping ability, you'd probably miss an empty net. So,
yeah, that's a good point.
ASE says Matthews is due for a big game. Austin Matthews, I mean, I think he's going to continue the streak that he's been on recently. He's scored in, I believe it was the past 6 games he's scored, and he's totaled somewhere around 9 points. I expect him to continue that, and I mean, every game for Austin Matthews has the potential to be a big game.
He's a bona fide stud sniper machine. I mean, what do you expect from him? You know that he's going to come out every night, put on the display, walk into the building dripping in terms of style. You know that Matthews is the complete package. And we're going to see it. We're going to see it again in this series. We're going to see him go against his American buddy, Brock, and he's just going to out-snipe him, out-wheel him, out-dangle him, everything. And hopefully it's going to be a big 3 games. I'd like to see 5-6 goals from Matthews in this stretch.
And
pick on the little guy.
On behalf of the whole comment section, and I think Jake and I can both attest to this, I don't know what's gotten into you today, Clarky. I really don't. You're out here kissing a lot of butt for a lot of people.
What?
So back to this stat that I was showing you guys, how Vancouver's allowing the most shots per game in the NHL. Well, I mean, that says something, and it translates to Vancouver allowing 3.6 goals against per game. That's the 5th most in the NHL. The Maple Leafs need to take advantage of all these glaring stats, these eye-popping stats. If you're a Vancouver Canucks fan, these stats, they've been pretty rough. And I know they have 2 goalies that you'd think are reliable, and they haven't really been, but the team in front of them hasn't performed either. Thatcher Demko and Braden Holtby, both with the goals against average of over 3.
And I think that touches back onto what we touched on earlier, Jake, that when they're seeing that many shots a game, I don't think you can start to read so heavily into potentially these goals against average. If you're seeing 40 shots a game, there's going to be goals that are going to go in. Even the best goalies in the world, if you're seeing 40 shots a game, you could be letting in 2-3 goals a game easily. And I think that just alludes to a bigger problem that Vancouver has. Not being able to stay out of the penalty box and not being able to keep their goalies from getting over 30 shots a game on them.
Yeah, I mean, AC says something interesting here. He says, I blame Toffoli. I mean, Toffoli didn't definitely help those stats. He's been on a tear lately, so never know. Great comment there. But, yeah, I'd say it's tough for any goaltender when they're facing that many shots. And I don't know, we could go into it in terms of Vancouver defense. Rib, I know you said earlier Quinn Hughes is really good, but who else do they really have that's like a really shut-down defenseman? I know they got like Tyler Myers, Jordy Ben. I don't know what the issue is in Vancouver in terms of defense, in terms of trying to not have 40 shots a night, but it seems like a bit of an issue. And it's tough to blame Holtby and Demko in those situations when the goalies are left out to dry. Because, as Leaf fans, we know we've seen our goalies. Some of our goalies been behind some really bad defense, and it just makes the night a lot harder for them.
It does. It does. I mean, we've seen it firsthand as Maple Leafs fans. All those shots against do not help. Speaking of defense, let's talk about our defense. As Justin Hall, well, this is a comment from the true Maple Leafs fan. He says, Justin Hall has been our best defenseman. I am massively surprised. The way he has been playing, he looks like a defenseman that could get $9 million. Shh. Don't say that. Hall, to me, is a Stanley Cup defenseman. I mean, you know what? Justin Hall's really stepped up his performance in a big way, leading this team in hits and block shots. He's deserving of all the praise that he's starting to get from the media. And I guess you could say he's a bit of a late bloomer, but I'm glad that he's been living up to his full potential.
And the thing is, I agree with 90% of that comment. But the 10% I don't agree with is the $9 million. If you find an NHL team that will offer Justin Hall $9 million a season, you tell me.
Yeah.
And I think that's a bit of a stretch and then some. And honestly, if he was getting that kind of money, there's no way the Leafs could afford him. So I think we'd all rather just have him on a cheaper contract, get him back where he needs to be, and put the $9 million discussion behind us.
Yeah, and what would we have to pay Morgan Riley in that case? I mean, Justin Hall, I agree that he's been our best defenseman, though.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a bit of an exaggeration, but I love the comment. I love it. I mean, I think it summarizes how Hall has been playing. He's been our best defenseman. And I think when you think of like a 9 mil defenseman, obviously that's like top 5, top 10 in the league. And I think that the one thing about Hall that we don't expect from him is we don't really expect him to generate a lot of offense. We want him to be more of a defensive defenseman for us, I believe, and a guy that can really shut down the top lines. And we saw that with McDavid. So overall, great play by him so far, and let's hope that he and Muzzin can keep it up because they've been a great line.
They definitely have been. I've been extremely impressed with Justin Hall. I mean, I think he's blown everyone's expectations out of the water. We saw him really starting to get comfortable last year in the bubble and towards the end of the season, but this year he's been outstanding, and he definitely has been the best defenseman on this team.
Yeah, I agree. Let's get into some more comments, discussion. What do we got here?
Travis Dermott is a great defenseman too. Travis Dermott was, he's still young. He's developing. He was put in exchange for Mikko Lehtinen, and that was in practice today. We'll see if Travis Dermott gets the game time tomorrow. I would expect him to. But let's get into players to watch. Then we'll do some score predictions. Everyone leave your thoughts, comments, questions, concerns, whatever you've got for us. Heck, even if you want to do a trade request, trade offer, do that if you want. Feel free. Feel free to send in some trade offers because we love doing those. So, player to watch from the Vancouver Canucks, it's got to be Brock Besser. This guy, he's been off to a super hot start. He has 8 goals and 4 assists in just 13 games played. Brock Besser, we need to find a way to slow him down.
Yeah, and I think that touches back on they weren't getting the results they wanted and they weren't winning the games. But Brock Besser's still showing up and being the best player on the ice. And if he's capable of doing that when the Vancouver team as a whole isn't playing at their best, what's he capable of doing if the whole team shows up? And I think, as Joe alluded to earlier, sniper's going to snipe. And Brock Besser's got a hell of a shot. And if he gets some more setup plays and gets properly built up where all he has to do is finish, I'd be worried. And I think as a Leafs, we have to look at a Justin Hall and be like, Brock Besser, don't let him get open. That's your man. Take him out of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jason has a really great comment here. And it's simple. Brock has an amazing shot. He does. He's a very skilled player, has an amazing shot. Probably close to rivaling Austin Matthews, who I think has probably the best shot, if not him or Ovi, best shot in the league. So I mean, he's a really skilled player, and I think the Leafs did they beat Vancouver last year 2-1, or was that last year? I think it was a
Oh
close
God,
game.
I don't remember. I don't
I think
remember.
it was a close game, and Besner had a goal, or he had an impact on the game. And he's really good, so we have to watch out for him. But there's also a lot of other young talent on Vancouver that we need to be careful. And at the end of the day, it is almost kind of like a trap 3 games where we're coming into it and we're like, oh, Vancouver, worse in the league, worse in the conference or division. We're going to be able to steamroll them, get all 3 wins, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be a battle. And they got a lot of young players, and they're also more hungry because they got a bad record. So Leafs got to come prepared.
It's an interesting comment here. Salmon says the Canucks play like the Leafs used to, a young team that is offense, offense, offense. And I mean, I'd agree with that.
And from a fan's perspective, I think we all love to watch it. Obviously, it doesn't lead to the greatest results from the team, potentially, because you do need to shore up your defense. And I think we saw that with the Leafs earlier when they were learning to really play as a conjointed, solid team, both on the defensive and offensive side. But it makes for some fun games. And with the firepower in both these teams, I think that they could both end up being high-scoring games. We're going to see a lot of goals, and it's going to be really good hockey to watch.
It is. The True Maple Leafs fan says subscribe. Thank you for the subscription. Make sure you hit the notification bell, smash the like button. Really helps out the channel a lot. Thank you very much for the subscription, and I hope to see you in some more of these discussions. We're here night in, night out, having great discussions. It's just Maple Leafs fans talking to other Maple Leafs fans.
And I think the big thing here, everyone else, if you haven't already subscribed, subscribe. Help Maple Leafs Media grow. Help us get to that 9 million subscriber count, like Justin Hull's $9 million contract.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Player to watch for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Some of you might think that this is an interesting pick, but I'm saying Wayne Simmons. Why? Because Wayne Simmons has 3 goals in the past 4 games. And he was practicing on a line with William Nylander and John Tavares. He's getting rewarded for his hard work, and I expect it to translate to some more success on the score sheet.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the hot hand right now, and he's starting to show that the Wayne Simmons he's got multiple 20 or more goal seasons. So he's a skilled player offensively. Let's not forget that. I know we brought him in not for his offense mainly, but also to be a depth piece, to be a grit player, to do a lot of other things that we're missing on the Leafs before the season. And he has done those things, but I think that, if we can see some great offense from him, why not? And like I said earlier, I think he's earned the right to be on that second line. That shows that Keefe is kind of rewarding him. 3 goals in 4 games, and he's got that mostly on the power play bit, but also on the third and fourth line. So he's been able to prove that he gets this opportunity. It's warranted, and hopefully he can make the most of it, because I'd love to see him click with Nylander and Tavares. I'd love to see it.
And I think there's a really good point here, too, about Tavares and Wayne Simmons being in front of the net at the same time. Just think about that. If you had told a Leaf fan 5 seasons ago you're going to have Wayne Simmons and John Tavares on one line scoring goals for the Toronto Maple Leafs, that would have been everyone's dream. And now we get to see it. 2 of the best net front presences in the NHL playing together. And if we're touching on the goalies not being able to see the puck and goalies getting a lot of shots on them, I'm not sure when those 2 guys are on the ice that the Vancouver goalies are going to either see the puck or have a chance by the time they deflect it and it's in the back of the net.
Yep, I mean, big bodies, big presences in front of the net, and yeah, that second line is going to scare opposing teams. I definitely hope to see Wayne Simmons have big contributions with this lines. I'm expecting big things from them over the next 3 games. We've got some comments that I want to get to. Some other people have other opinions here. So let's show. Jason says the obvious ones. Players to watch for the Maple Leafs is Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews. These guys have been tearing it up early on, and we'd love to see our top guys continue playing like our top guys.
Yeah, I mean, They're on a tear for sure. And Marner, I think we got to give the number one star so far. He's leading the charge. Matthews a close second. Tavares close second. You can debate that. But yeah, I think that Marner has definitely come out as a new player a bit this year. We've seen him be more aggressive, more creative, not always just passing the puck. And he's been involved in so many plays. And you have that stat, right? The Leafs are 6-0 every time he gets more than a point or a point in a game. So he's been pivotal.
Yep.
And I think it's been amazing to see too. Look at how this Leafs team's played through the first 10 games. On paper, they were the strongest team in this Canadian division. And when every player steps up on this team and plays the way they're supposed to play, or the majority of them do, look at the good things that happened. Mitch Marner steps up, Austin Matthews steps up, Wayne Simmons steps up, Jimmy Vesey steps up, and the list goes on and on. Obviously, there's been some players that haven't transitioned as smoothly as we would have liked. But if you have the majority of players playing exactly what's expected of them, this Toronto Maple Leafs team is the strongest team in this division.
Arguably the league.
This is an interesting one, Christine. She's taking two players that have kind of been struggling to find the score sheet. I believe that these two players combined for a total of 4 points at the current moment. And you know what? I like your pick, Christine. It's a bit bold, but it could be a beautiful thing to see these guys contribute. Mikheyev, Vesey, hoping to see them contribute. They're playing on a line together. Maybe that third line gets a bit of a spark and these guys get going. We need contributions from the bottom six more frequently.
Yeah, I mean, it takes pressure off the top guys and the Marner, Matthews, Tavares, Nylander, all the top guys, when you have contribution from the bottom six. And again, I think that also, for Soup's case especially, without having a goal yet, really, I think it's almost like a psychological battle at this point where he's been so close and he's had some great games, but he just hasn't been able to finish. So I think that great prediction by Christine, and hopefully it happens. I'd love to see a big weekend out of these guys. I know we always talk about the flashy players on the Leafs, but to see these guys succeed is just important, if not nicer, because it's a pleasant surprise to see it happen.
And I said it before, I'll say it again. My prediction is that Ilya Mikheyev will score in one of these 3 games and finally get his first goal of the year. And I like how Christine was able to touch on that. And I really hope we see good things from Jimmy Vesey and Ilya Mikheyev, and that they get rewarded for the positive effort they're putting in night and night out.
So you gave a prediction. We'll get into our player predictions for tomorrow night's game. Everyone in the comments section, drop your player predictions. We'll do score predictions after, so just hold off on those for a bit. We'll get to the score predictions after we give some player predictions. Snipes, you have a very particular stat line here. So
Snipes was feeling very mathematical tonight. He had to get everything calculated out, figure out how his scores fit in and what players were getting what. So take us through it.
Yeah, I was thinking about it in my head, and one of those moments in the movies where you see that person thinking and they do all the math on the board and in like the air. That's what happened here. Like it just came into my head, it hit me in the middle, and I'm just like thinking about this combinations, what's going to happen, and I can envision it. It's like tunnel vision. I know what's going to happen, and I'm saying that the Leafs, there's going to be a big line. The big line's going to be the second line. I think Simmons is going to get 2 goals. They're going to be beautiful goals. They're going to be really nice, and I think they're going to be set up mostly by Nylander with 2 assists, and I think Nylander is also going to have a own goal where no one's going to assist it. It's just going to be him sniping it, and he's going to take it end to end, sort of like a McDavid goal we saw the other night, but it's going to be Tavares this time, Nylander this time. And then Tavares, 2 assists as well. I think Tavares, if you're giving a player an MVP, an unsung MVP, just a player that you watch the stat line, you watch the game, but you don't always say he's the best. I think Tavares, he gets done dirty every game when we see what he does for the Leafs on the defensive end. Probably the best 2-way player in the league, and I think he's going to get 2 assists tonight. Or tomorrow night.
All right, my prediction. I've got William Nylander to get a hat trick. That's right. William Nylander to have a hat trick. Wayne Simmons scores a goal as well. Clarky, you said that second line is going to contribute in a big time way, and I'm with you. William Nylander going to get the hat trick. I think going up against Elias Pettersson, these two Swedish stars, William Nylander is going to get the better of the Vancouver Canucks, and Wayne Simmons, he's going to have a goal out front of the net where he does the best work. Comments here. We've got, let's see if we got any predictions. Simmons, Marner, and Matthews, and Soup to have a big game. I like that you included Soup in there. We're hoping to see Soup step up in a big way. True Maple Leafs fan says Matthews 3 goals, hat trick from Austin Matthews. Simmons 1 goal, Nylander 2 assists, and Tavares 3 assists. Those are great players to have great contributions.
He's on your wavelength there, Clarky. You just switched it up a bit, but he's on the Einstein wavelength as well.
Yeah, I mean, great predictions, and everyone keeps shooting your player predictions in. Love to see different ideas come in through and what we think for tomorrow night's game. But did Rib say his prediction yet?
Rib said Ilya Mikheyev is going to score his first of the season in one of the next 3 games.
That's his player prediction.
Yeah.
Why did he even bother coming up with that? Get a goal in the next 3 games? What type of? We're talking about specific stats for the next game. I got 2 assists, 1 assist, 3
I
goals.
got a hat trick.
You got a hat trick. Guys are commenting, girls are commenting specific details, and all Ribs comes up with for the show is 1 goal in 3 games. That's like it's going to snow in the next 14 days up here in Ontario. Great prediction, Rebel.
Well, here in Ribland, we like to keep it a bit more mellow and realistic. And I wasn't over here with an Excel spreadsheet calculating out all my predictions. I just like to watch the game, see how it flows, and Ilya Mikheyev's been all over the place. And I think we are going to see him score. And you want me to go more bold on the record and make a more bold prediction? I'm going to say that goal comes in the first game. How do you like that, Clarky? How do you like that, Malpass?
I like that. I like it's a bit more specific. I love
How's this for bold? YouTube user says Matthews 3 hat tricks in 3 games. That would be Leafs Nation would go berserk for that.
If he does that, I don't know. I was going to say the tattoo thing on my end, but I'm not going to. I'm smarter than that. I'm not saying that.
No.
And who's got the big claims now and you can't back up where your mouth is?
Let's do score predictions, and then I've got something I want to show at the end of the show. Just show at the end of the show. I got a little photo that I want to dissect with you guys. So, score predictions. Snipes, you've got 5-1 Toronto.
Yep. I think Toronto's going to pump Vancouver this first game. I'm hopefully looking, like I said last night, for a sweep out of these 3 games, but you never know. But I think this first game, Toronto's going to come out and pump Vancouver. It's just going to be a pump show. And I just think that Vancouver is not going to know what's coming for them because the Leafs are, other than that loss, the last game, that was a tough loss. The Leafs are coming back from the Western Conference, Alberta, and, they're bringing back all the oil. They're on a high right now, and they're going to continue. They're going to meet the Canucks in Toronto, and I think it's going to be a great game, but I'm going to say 5-1 Leafs.
And Reb?
5-2. Great minds, at least sometimes, think alike. And we have 5 goals for the Toronto Maple Leafs, but I don't like to discredit Vancouver quite as much as you've been over there, Clarky. I think they still have some talent, and I think they do play an offensive-oriented game. So I can see them putting 2 goals past the Toronto Maple Leafs, but at the end of the day, 5-2 Toronto, and I think we could see, let's say, 2 power play goals for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Given their propensity of how good they are on the power play and how poor Vancouver is at staying out of the box.
Okay. I've got 6-3 Toronto, and I think it's going to be 4-1 going into the third period. The Maple Leafs get a couple quick goals, and then the Vancouver Canucks respond in the last 10 minutes with 2 garbage time goals just to make it look respectable. 6-3 Toronto. I got 6-3 Toronto. We're going to crush the Canucks. I'm hyped up for this game. Let's go. 6-3 Toronto.
I think, Rib, you're saying that I got a bold prediction, but we got to get to some of these comments because I see some crazy scores right here.
Yes, if one of those scores happens and you know who I'm talking about, I think the league has to reevaluate the scoring system.
Tavares is gonna have a huge night. I see 2 from Johnny, 1 from Matthews, Simmons 1 goal, and Riley a goal.
Love it. That'd be
Jay
nice.
says 5-3. I'm gonna guess it's the Toronto Maple Leafs. 8-0 Leafs.
Woof.
5-1 Leafs. 6-0 Leafs. 8-3 for Toronto. I'd love to see us put up 8 goals. 8-0. 15-4 Leafs game 2. 15-4. Is this like
Oh my
that's
god.
worse than Canada beat Germany? That's more goals than Canada scored against Germany.
that, that literally sounds like it could be the score of a football game more than a Leafs hockey game.
And 6-3. That 6-3 game 3.
Realistic game 3.
Jay says he thinks it could go either way, but it's gonna be 5-3. 4-1 Jason says, I'm assuming for the Maple Leafs. Tomorrow will be the best game the Maple Leafs have played this season. I believe, keep calm, believe. Christine's with me, 6-3 Leafs. If we can win by more than 1 goal, that would be great. Too many stressful games, literally every game. And you know what? Great comment. Let's dominate for a full 60 minutes. Haven't seen that yet this season, and I'm expecting it.
Let's not be pulling out our hair on these 1-goal games. Let's see a little bit more. We need some breathing room as Leaf fans. It's too stressful.
4-2 Leafs. Canucks will pull their goalie and Leafs score. Insurance marker. Maybe Mikheyev gets on the board that way and gives them some more confidence. 5-0 Leafs. Rookie NHL 2021. Here we come. 10-1.
Wow.
Huge Leafs fan has got 1-0 for the Leafs. And Jason says, I'm also going to predict Frederik Andersen will get his first shutout. Love to see that.
Oh, yeah.
And I think a big thing to keep in mind with some of these predictions is we watched how the Toronto Maple Leafs played the Ottawa Senators. And Ottawa has shown through their first few games that they're a worse team than the Vancouver Canucks. So I'm not quite sure it's going to be as lopsided for all 3 games as some of you are hinting at.
I want the Ottawa Senators to win another game. Because they're the only team that's lost to the Senators so far. That's tough, but it's all right. We're top of the Canadian division right now. We're faring pretty well. Show a bit of more history between these teams. Vancouver Canucks all-time record in Toronto: 26 wins, 34 losses, 11 ties, and 1 overtime loss. So when they come to Toronto, they don't really fare too well in the past.
Let's make it 37.
Let's do it. I'd love to see that. Before we really get out of here, I want to ask you guys, are these the worst jerseys in NHL history?
Okay, well, Clarky, I know you had a very, very strong opinion on the Maple Leafs retro jersey. So if that is Charmin toilet paper to you, what is the Vancouver one?
You know what? I'm going to say, obviously, the Leafs is the Leafs jersey. But you know the thing about the Vancouver one that I have to respect about the Vancouver jersey is that it's really retro. And you have to respect the old-time look. I mean,
What?
it's retro. I mean, it's definitely you wouldn't catch me buying it, but at the same time, I respect that it's retro. And if you turn that jersey on its side, you have the old Canucks logo, which is actually a really cool logo. Overall, though, I would agree that it's not the most pretty jersey with the yellow and the orange. But I'd take it over the Leafs jersey.
I mean, I hate that Leafs jersey. I hate both these jerseys, honestly. That V, it looks more like a practice, like a Team Germany practice jersey than a Vancouver Canucks jersey. That is Team Germany colors, and it looks like a practice jersey.
Am I the only one that really starts to question how these people come up with these designs?
It's a classic Canucks jersey. What are you talking about?
It's got a V for Vancouver, but that is horrid. The Toronto Maple Leafs.
I'm with you. That looks more like a European, a Germany national jersey than an NHL jersey. It looks like something. It looks like something a European team would wear with sponsorships plastered all over it.
Yeah, like the Canucks. I don't know if you can see on the arm there. They've got the old Canucks logo on. That even looks bad. That is a horrible jersey. Shifting my focus to that Maple Leafs one. Oh, I despise that jersey. I despise that jersey. I hope they don't wear it again, even though they've got it scheduled to wear it a couple more times. It's hard to
And
watch.
Joe, I think you've got a fellow supporter here with your Charmin toilet paper and AC. The Leafs look like they're wearing Walmart knockoffs.
Yeah, I mean, looks like you can get that jersey at Winners for $30. But I mean, at the end of the day, you know, jerseys, they change it, they make it creative because they want to push the sales. It's all part of the business. But you know, I think you guys are hating on the Vancouver one too much. I mean, the Vancouver one is a classic logo. And at the end of the day, you guys just don't have appreciation for the old time game. And it's sad to see fans like you guys just don't appreciate it.
Well, you can go buy yourself one of those and you can wear it. And we'll see how you feel about it.
Okay, that Canucks jersey is not a historic jersey in hockey. I'd rather like the Anaheim Ducks old one, even the old Coyotes one, like that Vancouver Canucks jersey. If it could be erased from history, the owner of the Vancouver Canucks, whoever it is, I'm sure they would love to do that.
I'm not even sure Vancouver Canucks players from back in that era liked wearing that jersey. And yet you're saying that you enjoy it.
I'm not saying I enjoy it, but at the sheer time, you know, I have respect for the history of the game. And when you see a jersey like that where you know it paved the way in how hockey was formed, you have to show a little bit of respect for that. I mean, the Leafs jersey, that's not even traditional, nothing. That's, all right, let's make a new Leafs jersey. Let's throw in a new color. At least with the Vancouver one, that's a piece of hockey history.
Okay.
You see the Berets wear, you see all the great time Vancouver players, and they rock that jersey. So you can't just say, you know, it's like the Leafs one. The Leafs one's just a random color combination we wanted to push sales. So
Yeah, I hate the Maple Leafs one, to be honest. And
So,
I see what you're saying, but still, that Canucks one's
so
horrid.
Clarky, just to summarize for everyone, if you're picking between those two jerseys, you're wearing the Vancouver one?
Let's show them again. Let's show them again for you. Which one of these jerseys would you rather wear?
I'm picking the Vancouver one.
Oh man, I wouldn't wear either of them. And if I had to, I still wouldn't. I would never wear those jerseys. You couldn't force me to. Those are horrible, and they're the worst.
If I can get the Vancouver one on discount, like maybe 50%, 60% off, anyone that knows that, shoot me the link and I'll buy it and I'll wear it on our next podcast.
Check it out. Check out eBay. You can probably find it for like $10.
Yeah, if you can find an old used one, shoot the link to Clarky and he'll buy it and wear it on the next show.
I might have to look for that. Like, I might get you a birthday gift, a Vancouver Canucks retro jersey or something. That's you
I'm not
want
crazy. Chuck's with me on this one. Chuck says myself Vancouver one. I mean, you know, people are coming out of the woodwork and agreeing with me here. So
Well, I'm glad you and Chuck are two peas in the pod right now because I'm not sure you're getting too much out support.
okay, Solomon doesn't agree, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys like the Leaf jersey, the retro jersey?
No, I hate it. I despise it, and I wish it was erased from existence, just like that Vancouver Canucks one. That's horrible.
I'm not sure I quite feel as passionate about it as you two, but I definitely don't
Okay.
like it.
Let me demonstrate something, and I did a whole video on this. Okay, what color is the jersey I'm wearing right now? Take away this part. What color is this?
That's white. White.
Yes.
White.
Yeah. What color is this right here?
Blue.
Blue. Okay. There's two teams in the NHL that only have two colors in their color scheme. That's both original six teams: the Detroit Red Wings, Toronto Maple Leafs. Why would you change that and add unnecessary gray to the sleeves?
Because it's a new generation of Leaf fans.
Well, I don't know. Is that true about they're the only two teams
Yeah.
with colors?
Yes, it's true. You can look it up. It's true.
I don't know about that.
Okay, tell me another team with just two.
Well, I guess if you consider like team alternate jerseys, right? Like
Montreal's got blue, red, white. New York, red, blue,
I was going to
white.
say like Carolina, but I guess if you consider their alternate black jersey.
They've got black. They've got like a silver in their logo too.
Oh, they do? Okay. Yeah, I guess if you look at the fine prints, then.
Snipes, I think you really just got to admit they're both ugly, bud.
Yeah.
Um,
Leafs and Wings.
I don't know. What's your favorite like normal jersey? Like if you're just looking at all the NHL jersey, what's one jersey you like?
Like outside of Toronto.
Anything
like
outside?
any team, any jersey that's worn, the Hartford Whalers. I love the old Hartford Whalers jerseys, and not when Carolina tried to do them because that's a team they no longer are. But the old Hartford Whalers logo was so nice.
Clark, what's yours? Like I'm actually thinking about this.
This guy's harking at me for liking the Vancouver jersey fit, and you like that puke green color? Are you kidding me?
I mean, there's a couple. I'd like I'll actually pull it out for you here. I'll pull it out for you. This one, I love this one. I love this one. This right here. This is it's not my team. It's my favorite player. But these Winter Classic Pittsburgh Penguins jerseys, I thought these were some sweet jerseys.
And see, Joe, your boy Chuck, he's with me. I got good taste. We're in this together.
You know what one I like? This is going to be way out there. I like a Jets retro jersey.
That's cool.
I like those. And
Team
do it.
Lonnie.
Yeah, do Captain Timu. Oh, that'd be sweet. Maybe I'll buy that. You know, I might buy a jersey and wear it on the next podcast. What do you guys think?
You're gonna.
I mean, are you officially saying that now? Because if you're holding me to this tattoo thing, we're gonna hold you to that.
No, I'm thinking about a jersey. Like I want to get a nice, I don't know, Leafs jersey or just NHL jersey. But I'm thinking, what should I get? You know, there's a lot of options.
You know, the old Minnesota North Stars jerseys are cool. The Jets ones are cool. There's a lot of cool retro jerseys. Nordiques would be cool. Get a Nordiques Sundin jersey.
Honestly, why don't we leave it to the comment section? Why don't you guys have a vote? We'll put a poll on Instagram or something, put a Facebook poll up, and you guys can vote for the jersey that Clarky will buy.
Maybe I'll get a reverse retro Leafs one, and if they don't make it, I'll light it on fire on the podcast.
Oh man!
I might set off the alarm. My mom might come up with a can ready to attack me. But I could do that. I could like light it up in the background if the Leafs lose. Why not?
What is this? Are you an Islanders fan or something? Burning a Tavares jersey? That's all the Islanders fans. They get pretty pissed off.
Yeah,
and burn jerseys a lot.
I am really with Selman right here. You need to wear that yellow jersey. That's what it is.
I said if I can see it on a discount, I will buy it. I mean, you know, I'm all about discounts, bargain shopping.
Flames horse jersey, one of the best ones out there.
Do you guys know?
Mention.
Okay, I'll quiz you guys here. Do you guys know the name of the horse on that jersey? Clark, I'll start with you.
I'm gonna say I don't care because I'm not a Flames fan, but I'm gonna say Stammer.
No. Rib?
I'm gonna be disowned for this one, but I honestly can't remember it off the top of my head.
The horse's name is Blasty. Blasty because he's got flames blasting out of his nose. It's Blasty.
Okay, these promo people really need to figure out what they're doing.
Blasty? What type of name is that?
Blasty. He's got it. Blasty. But I mean, this has been a fun discussion here. Christine says, I like the Colorado reverse retro jersey with tribute to the Nordiques. And you know what? I like the Nordiques jersey, but the only reason I don't like that the Avalanche did it is because the Colorado Avalanche aren't the Quebec Nordiques. You don't see the Arizona Coyotes doing a Winnipeg Jets retro. It doesn't.
I got a question. You brought up something I want to ask, and this is a serious question that I've been thinking about lately since we've seen the new Seattle team, and I want you guys to answer this as well as a comment. Shoot what you think. Do you think that Quebec City deserves a team?
More so than a lot of the cities that are in talks for it. Like Kansas City, I don't really see out. I don't see that market really having a big hockey market. I think Quebec City, it could be a good hockey town. We've seen the Nordiques there. Quebec's hockey crazy, just like all of Canada. It would make sense. Right?
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. We obviously saw they were able to support two teams in Montreal and the Quebec Nordiques, and there was a very strong rivalry and hatred towards them between them. It was just as much as the Leafs and Habs. And you got Nordiques fans like Martin Baron. They don't like the Habs at all. It's a death set rivalry, and I think it'd be a shame for the NHL to not bring that back and be able to capitalize on that. And another Canadian team with a chance of winning the Stanley Cup for Canada, sign me up.
I'm all for it. What are your thoughts, Clarky?
Yeah, I mean, I think Seth brings up one point about financially. I think that at the end of the day, that drives the bottom line in the NHL. But if that were possible, I don't think their stadium is that big enough. Like, I think it's only like 13,000, 14,000 people. Atlanta, no. Honestly, I'd like to see Quebec City get a team. I mean, I think that's the closest market in Canada to getting a team, if anything. Like, you're not going to put a team out in St. John's or Halifax or Regina or something like that. So it's really Halifax or Quebec City or bust. So what do you think about the second Toronto team too? Like, I don't think that's
No.
I know it could be started, but who would
They
want
will never let that happen. They will never let that happen. The league
No.
and the Toronto fans will never let that happen.
My answer, you didn't even have to finish your question. No.
Hamilton or something like that, or Windsor or something? I don't know.
I mean,
Like,
that'd be cool, but no. I
We
mean,
saw what happened when they tried to do it. It
there's
didn't
two
work.
Ontario teams already.
yeah.
So there's a comment about Atlanta, and do you guys? I got another quiz question. Do you guys know what Atlanta Thrashers player is in the Hall of Fame? There's only been one in their franchise history. The Winnipeg Jets, Atlanta Thrashers. Which player was inducted to the Hall of Fame from that organization? I'll give you a couple minutes, and people in the comments, don't let these guys have a break yet.
I'm not going to Google it.
What was he invested because was he inducted because of his contribution to the game or because of his actual statistical totals?
He was a good player. He's a good player.
I know who it is. For sure I know.
He won a Stanley Cup, maybe cups.
Is Hossa in the Hall of Fame? No, he's too early retired, right?
Comment. I'm not going to see it though. I'm not going to read it. I think I have my prediction.
Who is it? Who's your answer, Clark?
He got 50 in 07, Danny Heatley.
No.
Danny Heatley.
He should be in it.
No, he shouldn't. Rib.
I mean, I'm going with my original guess that it's Hossa, but I think I see the correct.
It's Hossa. It's Marian Hossa. It's Marian Hossa.
You're telling me Hossa's in the Hall of Fame, but Danny Heater isn't? That's a joke.
Hossa's a way better player than Danny Heatley. We're not having that debate because if you actually legitimately think that, you're crazier than I thought.
Yeah, I mean, Hossa won Stanley Cups. It's Marian Hossa. But thankfully that organization isn't around anymore. Poor Atlanta Thrashers. That sucked for them. Back to Winnipeg, I guess. So that's all for the show. It's been fun. We kind of got off track there talking about jerseys and stuff, and it was fun. Anyone in the comments section, hope to see you back here tomorrow. I'll be here either for a post-game or a live reaction. Not sure yet, but I'll do one of the other two. Salmon wants you to buy the yellow jersey. Hold you accountable.
Yeah, send a link. Send a discount link, and I will buy it. I will wear it if the Leafs lose to Vancouver, and if they don't, I'll still wear it. But at the end of the day, it's all about having fun on here. And when you get these two Leaf homers, like honestly, I have to be the different opinion on this show. These two guys are always Leafs, Leafs, Leafs. Leafs are the best. Leafs are this. Like, this guy promised a tattoo for the Leafs. So you don't think I have to come on here and have a different opinion, because I realize that if I just say what these two are thinking, we're just going to be saying, yeah, I agree with you the whole show. Yeah, great point, great point. There's no debate. So I have to come up here with a different opinion because we know these two are just going to talk about the Leafs all the time and say the Leafs are the best.
And I don't think I've ever seen anyone kiss as much butt as you did today, Clarky. So if that's your differing opinion, is telling us that Austin Matthews is a hat-trick goal scorer, then I don't even know what to say. It's a loss for words. But as always, thank you to everyone that tuned in. I'm sure many of you enjoyed Clarky and I going back and forth with each other. And let's put him in the Vancouver jersey. Let's make sure that Clarky Snipes shows up to his next show in that old, ugly, retro Vancouver jersey.
Well, it's going to take time for shipping and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the one problem is I've taken a big loss in my portfolio lately in stocks, so I don't know if I have the disposable income to buy it. I'm gonna have to wait a few months. I took some risky positions, and now I'm down big, so I'll have to wait till that goes up a bit, but then I'll buy it. I promise I'll buy it.
Well, this has been fun. Thank you to everyone in the comments section. Thank you to you guys for having some fun discussions here. Please, if you haven't already, make sure you smash that like button, hit the notification bell, and if you're on Facebook, share this. Helps out the channel, the brand in a big way. If you haven't already, check Maple Leafs Media out on Facebook and Instagram at Maple Leafs Media. Tons of new content, interesting statistics coming out on a daily basis. Thank you, everyone, for watching this show. And I'll be back here in the near future, probably tomorrow. Well, I will be here tomorrow, either with a post-game show or a live reaction. Haven't decided yet, but look forward to seeing you there. Once again, Reb, Clarky, thank you, boys. It was a great show.